What's going on, YouTube? This is Mark with Waist Deep Wade Fishing, Southwest Florida. Just want to say hello to everyone out there, and I hope everyone is doing well. And today we're going to have a nice little discussion on what is upcoming in the next couple of months here in Southwest Florida. And right around, I'm going to say, the beginnings of May, into the middle of May, we are going to have the snook spawn. And that's a very, very important time of year because that's when the big females are out there. And today's show is going to be dedicated to the snook, everything about the snook, and the spawn of the snook, and where those snook are going to be over the next couple of months. So again, this is Mark with Waist Deep, and I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Please like and hit the subscribe button at the bottom. And at the end of the video, I'm going to have something interesting posted up that I would like you to check out. So please view the whole video. At the very end, I'm going to put a specific video in the card that I think you guys are going to enjoy. Alright, so let's begin. The snook. This particular type of fish is very interesting. Its hunting ability, its power, its aggressiveness, and sometimes its ability to not be caught are all into one, which makes it such a unique sport fish to go after. Now, because the spawn is coming up shortly, these are the best chances to get that 40+ inch snook. But before we go into that, let me tell you a little bit about the snook, the regulations, and the lifespan, and the life cycle. So, snook, it's a warm water fish. They range as far as Costa Rica, if not further, down the coast all the way to Florida. They prefer, their comfort zone is preferably between 68 and 75 degree water. That's what they like. That's where they thrive. Not saying that they don't like the warm water, because who doesn't like warm water? But once that water temperature gets up above 90 degrees, and it does get that high here in Florida, it does limit the time span of when you can catch them. When it's very hot out there, they get lazy. They'll just lay there in the trough lines and they won't hit anything you throw at it, even if you put on live bait. It's just because they're hot. It's the same thing like you and I. We get hot, we have no energy. We want to find a spot that's nice and cool to relax until it cools down to do what we got to do. Same thing with the snook. Now, a couple of fun facts about the snook. Most people don't know this, but a snook is a hermaphrodite, and all snook are born male. Every single snook that is born a male. And at 33 inches, that snook will become a female, a breeder. So that brings me to the next subject, the regulations. Right now we have a closed season on the big three. Trout, redfish, and snook, completely closed. Can't keep them. There is no limits. It's catch and release only. But when the regulations change and the snook become open, and what we call open season for snook, you'll be allowed to take one snook per person per day between 28 and 33 inches. Get caught with a snook under 28 inches or over 33 inches, you could get into a lot of trouble. And the fines are pretty significant by FWC, the Florida Wildlife conservation. So just making you aware, if you do come down here and you don't know the laws, a keeper snook is between 28 and 33 inches during snook season when they open it, which usually opens in September here on the West Coast. So next, what's the lifestyle of a snook? Where do they live? Where do they thrive? What goes on? Okay, a snook is usually born in the estuaries. Okay, the spawning is coming up now, but the birthing will take place in the estuaries during the colder months. They'll be back in the estuaries. They'll be able to hide in the mangrove roots. They'll be able to feed on the small crustaceans and the minerals and the small crab and the baby pinfish and the baby threadfins, so forth and such. And they'll use the estuaries as a incubator. And they can stay in there from 1 to about 2.5 to 3 years before they'll come out and venture, and then themselves will begin to spawn. So they basically want to stay in there because of the cover of the estuaries. The predators, it makes it harder for the predators to go after them. It's easier for them to feed, and in the winter times, that water back there, okay, is a lot warmer than, let's say, the water in the inlets, on the beaches, so forth and such. Next, the average size snook is anywhere from 20 inches, and I've seen them as big as 50 inches. My personal best is 47 inches. It was a huge female, but there are bigger ones out there. And because the spawning season is coming, that leads us to the next subject. Why do they come out of the estuaries in the warmer weather? Well, number one, they're going to come out of the estuaries, A, because there's food, B, the water is a lot warmer, and then they get that nice flow of salinity from the beaches. Once they start working the beach line, the big females come out, they're going to get a steady flow of bait, a steady flow of high salinity water, and then current. And again, the current, when in the warm months, the snook doesn't want to use a lot of energy, so they use that current to bring the food to them instead of them having to go out and hunt. Makes sense, right? I mean, if the food is going to be given to you, why use your energy to get it if you can just wait in a spot and the food will be brought to you? Well, it's the same principle with the snook. So now, at 2 or 3 years old, those snook will start coming out right around, once that water hits about 65 degrees, they're going to start to move. You'll start seeing them coming out of the creeks, out of the estuaries, and then moving up towards the passes. And then those snook will be up in the passes, feeding and gorging as that temperature starts to rise. And once it hits that perfect temperature, which I call right around 79, 80 degrees, that's the spot you want that water to be at. Well, then they're going to start to move to the beaches. So if you are going to be fishing and you decide to come down here on vacation and fish in the summer, or if you're just a regular flats fisherman or wade fisherman or shore fisherman that is looking to hook big snook, well, the months from May till October are the months to do it. It's very, very simple. Those snook are going to come out. They're going to feed at night around structure in those passes. They're going to go up and down the beach lines, and they're going to be inside of the troughs. And what a trough is, if you stand on the beach and you watch where the water breaks, or if you actually walk off the sand and where the water meets the sand, right about a foot or two, you'll see that there'll be a little drop off. That's a trough line. Well, in the summertime, okay, those snook will be stacked up in there by the thousands, up and down the beach lines through the whole west coast of Florida for those coming months. You'll be able to get them on fly, you'll be able to get them on live bait, you'll be able to get them on artificials. Just about anything you can throw at them will entice a bite if they are feeding and it's the right time of day and the right current. Keep that in mind. They're not going to be biting all times of the day, and they're not. And you may see 30 of them in a school, okay, all huddling up like salmon in this drop line, just sitting there, sitting in the water just like this. And you can throw everything you want at them, and they're not going to take it. They're not going to bite it. They're just going to, it's going to drop. They're going to look at it, and they're going to move off, and the rest will follow. So when wade fishing or beach fishing during this time of year, be very, very silent. Be stealthy. Wear polarized sunglasses. Have that sun at your back. Okay, keep your eyes pinned in the trough line as you're walking. And when you see a shadow, you see an outline of a snook, don't throw the bait right on top of it. What you want to do is take that lure, go past the fish, okay, while it's sitting there, and then work that lure past the front end of its face. Do not throw directly at the fish, because as soon as that lure hits the water, you're going to spook them. Now, another interesting fact about the snook, what makes them so aggressive is, if you look on the body of a snook, there's a large lateral line, okay? Most fish, they have lateral lines, but they're not as distinctive as the snooks. The snook it hunts on vibration. Not so much smell, vibration, action. So use lures, okay, subtle, but that do create a reaction. Use reaction style baits, paddle tails, mirror lure plugs, top water plugs, jigs with rattles in them. I mean, there's 1,000 lures out there, and if you go to my videos, I will go ahead and tell you which one, if you can find the videos in my playlist that describe which lures are best for snook. So getting back to that lateral line is used for hunting. Inside that line, there's thousands of microscopic hairs. The same way a shark has a sense on its nose where it can sense electricity, these hairs pick up vibration. So when they're in feeding mode, anything that comes by them vibrating, swimming motion, struggling motion, they're in their minds, oh, it's something wounded, it's a free meal, I gotta eat it. So keep that in mind when you're wade fishing or beach fishing for these snook during the spawning season. So it is the best time for you to bring your family down, or if you want to bring you and your buddy down to walk the beaches. Sanibel Beach or Sanibel Island is world renowned, okay, for snook fishing inshore from the beach in those trough lines. I mean, there's monsters. People come from all over the world to fly fish for these snook in these trough lines during these spawning months. And another thing about the snook that really, really makes them different from everyone else. Snook don't have any teeth. And a fish that doesn't have any teeth, well, I mean, either that fish is going to have enough power to gulp down a bait, or when it strikes a bait, enough power in its jaws to disable it. So let's say he can't get the bait down, it's a bigger bait, but he wants to stun it. So he'll come up and he'll pop it. And they make a snook makes a very distinctive popping sound, especially when they're hitting baits on the top water. It's a sound unlike anything else. And I hope everyone out there gets a chance to hear that sound one time in their life, okay, and one of those fish to tighten one of their lines. Last thing I want to talk about is the bridges. Now, at nighttime, when the snooks are done playing during the day, because they are there spawning, they will head to the lights around these bridges. The lights around docks, around bridges, will attract the smaller bait. They're predators, so they're going to go after it. So if you are going to go and fish the bridges, again, very, very heavy gear, 5,000 to 6,000 class reel. You want to use a medium to heavy, about 7.5 foot, and jigs that you're going to be throwing, or baits, anywhere from an ounce down to, I'm gonna say a half ounce to 1.5 ounces, depending on the depth of the water. Flare hawks are excellent. Big paddle tails, big swim baits, Big Yozuri plugs, you know, they're kind of hard to work off the top of the bridge, but if you're on a boat and you're casting towards the pilings and it happens to be lights by those pilings or on those bumpers, a diving plug works excellent as well. And make sure that you're using a strong enough fluorocarbon line. Okay, snook have very, very rough mouths. So every time you catch a snook, whether it be on a paddle tail from the beach or waiting or on the bridge, every single time make sure you check your leader line because it will be chafe. I suggest after every fish, you know, tie your leader long enough. This way you can cut off the part that's chafed and then retie on your plug or your jig, or you're gonna lose a lot of money. So again, this was a little class on snook and what's coming up here in Southwest Florida for the spawn. Just to rehash, the spawn is going to be between May and October in Southwest Florida. The snook are going to be in the trough lines, along the beaches, coming in and out of the passes all day long, and working the bridges on the passes. I hope you enjoyed the content that I brought you today. I do want to suggest that everyone get out there, get some fresh air, get in the water, you know, take up the hobby of fishing. It's great for your family, it's great for your kids, and it's definitely a community of people that care about the outdoors. So hats off to everyone on the water, and my name is Mark. This is Waist Deep Wade Fishing, Southwest Florida. I'll leave all my links in the description of where you can find me on social media. Till then, please hit the like, subscribe button, share button, and I will see you on the next video. And this time, don't go out there and get you a yellowmouth. Go out there and go get you a line sider. Take it easy, guys. One love. See ya.